Congratulations. You are officially emotionally mature. Now, how do you know if you have completed this hard challenge or this pillar, this threshold in your life where you are no longer immature emotionally? There are two ways to figure out or to even understand that you are. When you are able to be vulnerable without outside input, with just your lonesome by yourself. And the other is accepting people where they are. Now, what does that mean, accepting people as they are or where they are? We all are on a journey, and some of us are ahead and some of us are behind. Some of us are right next to each other in the same journey. But it's not your responsibility to help those who fell behind, who are lagging. And it's not your responsibility to catch up to those that are in front of you. It's also not your responsibility to be with the person that is on the same road as you and uplift and help them. Now, why do I say that? Because when you are emotionally mature, you understand the emotional regulation that you must have with yourself and with others. Because not everyone is ready for growth just because you were ready and just because you decided to change and be better and be positive and start healthy habits and have a better mindset about you and your life. That doesn't mean other people are. It doesn't matter if they're on the same exact stone as you are at. If they're not ready, then they can never get past that stone that you are about to pass or that you're about to turn over. So when you are emotionally mature, you no longer act with irrational emotion. You no longer act in a mindset of pure feeling. You may still have pure feelings because we are all human, but the fact is, you will act differently than how you used to be. You will act differently from the person who is not able to control themselves emotionally. You're able to empathize with other people. You're able to be secure in yourself and not let others' emotions affect you, because they aren't your emotions and you are in control of those emotions. If you're on the path to being emotionally mature, then you must understand that it takes inner work. I don't know how much of you are coined to the term, but it's called shadow work. And shadow work is nothing more than a term, I was trying to think of a better word, but another term for your subconscious mind. That may seem like it's very frightening, intimidating, or even unsettling. But it's nothing more than just what you think in the back of your mind. Things that don't arise because you don't think about them consciously. You don't think about them actively. These are all passive thoughts. These are all passive conditionings. Now, the reason that you may be still emotionally immature or that you may associate yourself with it, I don't want to label you, but the reason that you may associate with it is because of how you were conditioned to be when you were a child, or when you were growing up in your social environment, or in your family dynamic, or in relationships. You were never shown that the way to act and present yourself, I forget the word, is supposed to be different than what you already know and have experienced from others. Because how else would you be able to learn how to be emotionally mature if no one else around you was emotionally mature? A great example is our parents. Now we take, no matter if we like it or not, it's just truth. We take every trait, good or bad, from our parents. Every nuance of them, every small habit that they have. And in turn, you transmute it, whether it's into good or bad, and you reflect it out onto the world and onto yourself, most importantly, in order to get over this emotional hurdle that you are holding back from being mature in. You must understand that it is not your fault, and it is not your reason. It is not the reason that you are being held back. It is the fact that no one has taught you how to do it. when you start to teach yourself how to do it, because no one else can show you how. I just said that you were never taught or shown how, but at this point in your life, if you're seeing this video, it means that you're teaching yourself and that you're relearning habits, or you're becoming more aware of yourself and your inner thoughts, your inner emotions, your inner dialogue, your inner behaviors. All these things came up and were instilled into you, ingrained into you, and whether it be because of needing to protect yourself or wanting to stay away from conflict because all you had was a house of conflict, then you impede your own growth and you rely on your emotions to get through situations in everyday life. Now, what does that mean? It means that you have not emotionally matured yet. An example is, let's say someone says something to you that you take as an attack, but to everybody else, it was just a random and regular comment. There was no personal attachment to the comment that was made to you. But because that you are unstable, or not that you're unstable, because you are not able to first yet manage your emotions and understand your emotions from a ground level, from your inner self, you lash out or you project your own insecurities onto the comment or onto the person that made that comment. Let's say you were being martyred or someone was attacking you actually, verbally. How would you react? Would you allow your emotions to get the better of you? Would you allow yourself to succumb to anger, the very thing that they want to draw out of you, the very thing that they want exactly? They want the reaction that they not lingered you in, pulled you into. I could say, I don't like your voice, or I don't like the way you sound. You sound like this, da-da-da-da. There's many emotions that you can attach to this. It could be sadness, which would be leading to shutting down. It could be anger or frustration, which would lead into explosiveness. It could be annoyance or laughing it off, which would both lead to passive aggressiveness, because you were, no matter what it was, I just gave you an attacking sentence, you were invalidated, or someone that you don't know or do know or care about or don't care about decided to give their opinion about you, which was untrue. And even if it was true, how would you decide to react to it? How would you decide to behave? Would you allow yourself to be manipulated, to be controlled by this person? Because that's what they want to do. To get a reaction, to get an emotion, to get a thought, for you to act out of character and for you to not be who you really are. For you to show a side to yourself so that maybe even deeper, they get to say, see, look at you. You're not healed. You're not emotionally mature. You're not this. You're not that. You're just a person who explodes. You're just a person this, that, whatever the case is. The reason why you keep that you stay in the process of your emotions is because you're allowing it to be. You're allowing yourself to be triggered. You're allowing yourself to be the victim of a situation. Now, it's easier said than done because a moment is a moment. And when you're in the moment, it's harder to really process your thoughts and emotions. And the first thing that comes up is your defensive barriers. The first thing that comes up is your need to validate yourself, to validate your opinion and your image in that person's eyes, even if you never cared about them, even if they were just in passing, or even if they're a family member. In family, it's easier to fall into emotion because they're so close to you, because they are literally in the same house as you, and you can't escape it. It doesn't matter if you do validate or vindicate or defend yourself in these situations. You cannot get out of them, especially family situations. So what do? What options do you possibly have where you could fix this scenario and also be yourself while also clearing your name? Changing your mindset, changing the way you think about yourself. If someone told you, let's say you were extremely smart, you got an extremely big or high IQ and math and everything, all those things that come with intelligence is easy to you. It's so easy. You're so smart. You're intelligent. You're a master at your mind, of your mind. If you truly believe that about yourself, let's say for this example, if you truly believe that about yourself, then if anyone told you you were dumb, how would you react? If I think the way that you would think, or the way that I would react, I would laugh it off. Or I would think that it's so absurd that it's impossibly true, that it's literally fantasy. It's like telling me the sky is purple. There is no need to argue this fact, because the sky is blue. I don't need to change your mind because you think the sky is purple. If that's what you think, that's what you think. And at the end of the day, you're wrong. But there's no need for me to prove that, which is why I started the video as in not needing to change or give advice or lend a hand to those that have fallen behind you or those that are on the same track or even ahead of you, how you reach a hand out. If someone wants to get that help, if you wish to get this help in growth, then you would ask, or they would ask. But if you're not ready, if they're not ready, if the person who thinks purple is the sky color isn't ready to understand or believe or notice that the sky is blue, then that is their reality. Then that is their own demise. That is their own fall and their own stone that they must turn or step over or walk past. So how do you clear your name? You don't. Quite honestly. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they're your mother, your father, your brother, your cousin, your distant friend from across the world. Their opinion does not matter. The way you hold and carry yourself and having inner confidence and inner security within yourself, that leads to how people react to you. That leads to how you decide to handle your emotions. Because anything that you feel attacked from, it doesn't need to come out of anger or sadness, but if you feel attacked or if you feel belittled or any of those words, any sort or type of attack that you feel is personal, you will react emotionally. You'll notice in these situations and scenarios that every single scenario and situation that you react to, you're subconsciously hurt. You're subconsciously in fear, or you feel like a victim. You feel like someone who has no control, or you feel like someone who is unable to change the outcome. So what do? You rely on your emotions. You rely on the things that are so comfortable and so ingrained in you, because that is all you have to lean back on. When you start to create exercise or create habits for yourself mentally, not physical habits like I'm playing chess or something, or texting a lot, but when you start to give yourself mental habits and mental restructuring, you understand that not only can people not change your mind and that you don't need to change others, it goes the same for emotions. It goes the same for how you react, how you act, and how you are overall. If you are a genuine, happy, positive person, then genuinely nothing can make you sad. Why? Because your inner peace or your inner mind is structured around happiness, around positivity, around those type of emotions and feelings and thoughts. So if you see someone, I know you probably have, you see someone who's just smiling to themselves like a dummy. You can't tell them anything that would make them not happy if that's who they really are. And that comes with emotional maturity. Understanding how people are affecting you, how people are trying to get a reaction out of you most of the time. If they don't get something out of it, then usually people don't approach you. There is no reason to talk to anybody if it's not out of self-interest. I'm not saying that you should be selfish about it. I'm just saying the facts. That the reason why anyone does anything is out of self-interest. Let's say if they were to help someone who is homeless, the self-interest was that it makes them feel good. If they truly got no reward, if they truly got no emotional attachment to the situation or outcome, then nothing would be done at all. And that holds true for every scenario. I think so. When you start to manage your emotions, process them in the moment, and limit your reactions, you're not only setting a better standard for yourself, but you're also more in control of yourself, more secure in yourself, and you understand how people are trying to get a rise out of you. No matter the type of rise, it's a rise. Some reaction, some basis level of emotional manipulation. That may be very hard to understand, but in a way, emotional manipulation is extremely popular, even subconsciously, because we don't even know it. Let's say I want to make you feel good, or I want to feel good about myself about making you feel good. I'm going to give you a compliment. Now, what did I just do? I made you feel happy. I changed your state of mind. I changed your emotional state in that moment. Whether it was for a good reason or for a bad reason or for manipulating you or anything, it is emotional manipulation. I am changing your thoughts and emotions. I am changing the way you feel in the moment. Let's say I feel super sad and I give you a present. The idea is to change your situation, to change your emotional state. And let's say that you are emotionally mature in these situations. You don't have emotion toward these outcomes through these external rewards. I would say a great example is understanding the situation. When you become emotionally mature, you understand more situations on an emotional level. The example I was about to use is, let's say my grandmother decides to give me or force me. Let's just say give me. She decides to give me a present. And all of a sudden, the very next day, she tells me to do something. Now, if I were to think about it, if you were to think about it, the present had no correlation. There was no reason or substance to give me a present. But yet the very next day, they asked me for a service or an act of service or something in return for the gift without even mentioning the gift. I just have the inclination because of the emotional output that I felt and that they gave me to do the act of service, to do the favor, to decide more favorably in her outcome or their outcome. There are so many ways that emotional maturity is shown in your life. And it really starts with you noticing it within yourself before others are able to notice it, before others are able to see, okay, I'm not getting a reaction, I'm not getting a rise, I'm not getting what I want out of this outcome or this situation. I guess it's time to move on. Emotional maturity also shows up in your personal, in yourself, like with you to you basis. Let's say you think about sadness or something that's super, super sad. Now, there's two ways to react. You can be sad and transmute that to even bigger sadness and maybe even cry. But if you've truly emotionally matured around these memories that you have that are related to sadness, you wouldn't just see it as a moment of sadness, you would see it as a moment of happiness, of growth, and maturity in yourself, because you can no longer be emotionally manipulated in that situation. If you still allow those moments of sadness, let's say the worst comment you could ever hear is "you are so ugly," and every time you hear that comment, you cry because of the way your family handled your attractiveness or your value or anything really. It comes down to having the attachment of emotion without being attached to the situation that gave you the emotion. It's okay to feel sad about things. It's okay to cry about things. But there's a thin line when it comes to being sad and dwelling in the sadness, and sadness as a nostalgia, or any emotion as nostalgia. I know you're capable of this. If you are already mature in your emotions, then you understand some or all of the things that I just iterated. And if you're not, or you're almost there or on your path of becoming more emotionally mature, then you'll realize that these specific scenarios and situations, and many more that I have not even talked about, they are all a part of your emotional state, of your inner processing skills, of the way you handle the world and the people around you. My name is Augustin. This is Just Before Clarity, and thank you so much for being here.